There are three kinds of people in this world. Those who make plans and stick to them, those who make plans and don't stick to them, and those who do whatever they want and never pretend otherwise. I think we can all agree that most of us fit into the second category. I know that I do. And in this episode, you will hear about when good intentions turn into a sweater number 20, a garter stitch hood, and my third storm sweater. Hello and welcome to Knit in the City. I am Rebecca and the city is aspirational. For the month of February, I had decided to make a Fix Your Knits month episode, that was a mouthful, where I tend to some of the finished objects that didn't quite turn out the way I wanted them to, or ones that did, but that have been worse for wear, so to speak. The last month I finished 4 items, and everything that I set out to finish. I think that is the first time that has ever happened. And I must have been burned out from being too good. So this is what happened. I didn't fix anything but a skirt. And that is the Nebel skirt by Signe Siemsen. And I will insert a picture so that you can see what it looked like before. This was a below the knee kind of skirt in a 3-1 rib, which made me look like a carrot. So I decided to shorten this skirt. And this is the result. This skirt is currently being blocked. I didn't pin it out because the only reason I blocked it is because I ripped out the yarn and re-knit it, and then it becomes a bit bubbly, and that's why I wanted to block it so that the yarn straightens itself out. This is still wet. But the only thing I did was that I shortened it to just hit on the lower end of the thigh, I would say. It looks a bit flared now, but when I wear it, I mean, it's tight on the body. It looks really small, but that's because of the ribbing. Maybe it is a little bit small because I made like an opening here so that I can insert an elastic, but I didn't have to because it fits perfectly anyway. So that's why I have one loose thread here, because if I at some point need an elastic, I can just insert it and then sew it down. So that is the first and only project that I was supposed to work on that I actually worked on and finished. I finished one more thing this month, and that was a new cast on. That was the classic ribbed hat. And I knit this for my daughter to go with her arched gusset mittens. I don't have the hat here, it's with her, but I will insert a picture of the hat. I made her a classic ribbed hat before in white that she wore a lot before she lost it, but that's what happens with accessories. I do that too. And now she wanted a hat to go with the mittens. So and I have knit that, and this is actually funny because it's been knit in the same yarn that the Nebel skirt has, and this is Drops Lima. So her hat and mittens are the leftovers from this skirt. And I love when I can use up yarn like that. And this is actually a color that suits her a lot better than it does me. The next thing I have finished is nothing, because I have only finished one thing in February, except for the skirt that was already finished, but I fixed it. And considering how badly this went, I have decided to take measures to get all of these things finished, and to get around my disobedient personality, I have decided to pick one project each month to fix. So on top of the whips and the UFOs, I will also pick a project that needs to be fixed for the upcoming month. And I will get to that later, because now I want to tell you a little bit about what I have actually been doing in February. And I have had a lot of fun, and I have been quite focused. I mean, I finished the hat. And then I started knitting on a hood, because I've been seeing all these cute hoods with scarves attached to them, and I felt like I really wanted one of those. And this is a drops pattern that I have modified, because I wasn't sure whether I would look good in a hood. Whoa, rhyming. Or not. So I thought I just pick a free pattern and see what I can do. This actually had a different pattern on it that was called a pearl stitch, and then there was some stockinette in between. I can show you a picture. But I decided to make a garter stitch one. So here is the hood, and in this pattern you can choose between 2 sizes, and I picked the bigger size, and that is something that I regret. Because if I try this on, you can see that it's quite big. But I think that when this part, the scarf part, goes around, it's probably not going to be too bad. So this is just garter stitch, and this whole thing, both the hood and the scarf, has an I-cord edging that you knit while you knit. No, now I'm lying to you. The scarf part has an I-cord edging that you knit while you're knitting the rest. I mean, I look yellow in the face. I think I need some more light. I don't know if that's better. Well, if I have a yellow face, I have a yellow face. What are you gonna do? But the I-cord around the hood, you knit after the hood is finished. And the construction of this is that you start with this part here on top of the head, and then you pick up stitches all around and knit the hood. Then you do the I-cord, and then you pick up stitches along this side, or you cast on stitches here and then you pick up along this side. And then you just knit back and forth like this. It takes forever. No, it doesn't take forever, because the yarn is quite thick and the needles are also big. But it feels like it takes forever. And it's knit in a blown yarn called Adlibris Cloud. It's not as soft as the Viking garn blown yarn that I have been working on the sweaters for my daughters in. But it's still pretty nice. It looks very cute. I feel like it's not doing the project any favors when I shine a light on it like that. But this is pretty good. And I'm using this really soft pink, which is a color I haven't worn since I was a kid. So let's see how this turns out. But I finished the first part of the scarf. Now I'm going to pick up, you're supposed to just cast on more and then sew them together, but I think I'm going to just pick up the stitches from this edge, because I'm doing whatever I want anyway with this pattern. I mean, after I finished the hood, I actually kind of regretted that I hadn't made the pattern suggested in the pattern, but I think this is going to turn out pretty nice as well. Another thing I wasn't supposed to do was start a new sweater. But I mean, I am loving this. This is so much fun. This is my favorite things knitwear. And if you've knit anything from her, you know that she's amazing. I love this designer. I made the blouse number 1 that I adore. And now I'm making the sweater number 20, which is gorgeous. And just like in the last pattern I made, this is just so easy to follow. It's so much fun to knit, and everything is just breezing by. Look at this beauty. Look at these cables. I can't wait to wear this. And this is the icy blue that I was talking about in my winter knitting plans. It is actually 2 drops yarns, but they are very soft to the touch. This is the drops kidsilk. What is that? Something red got caught in the yarn. And the other one is drops daisy. that I'm holding together with the kidsilk. And that looks like this. I think I'm going to turn this light off because it just makes the colors look weird. This is much more like it. So I'm holding these two together. It turns into a lovely fabric. This is the first time I knit with a drop stacey. I really like it. It's a non-superwash merino yarn and really lovely to the touch. And yeah, this has all kinds of cables. I really like this chunky one. Then there's this traditional cable and like a smaller one. There is this is pretty much the same but bigger. And then there's this mock cable where you just twist while knitting, so to speak. This is a drop shoulder construction. You start at the back and then you pick up for the front. I currently just finished the left front. I'm about to pick up for the right front, and I love knitting on this. I don't want to do anything else, but I have decided that there are some other things that needs to be tended to as well. Namely, another thing that I just cast on willy-nilly, and that is the storm sweater. But I mean, this is actually not me being indulgent. It's rather me being nice to my daughter, because I made a storm sweater for myself. I made a storm sweater for little sister that she loves and wears all the time. So now big sister has to have one as well. And I'm pretty much in the same position as with the sweater number 20. This is the same construction. You start at the back, and I have finished this part. And then you pick up stitches for the front. This is the left front. I haven't finished the left front, I don't think. It looks very small. I'm knitting this in the smallest size. I think it's extra, extra small. And I was considering to make the extra small for big sister. But when the one for little sister was finished, I realized that this garment is quite oversized, so the double extra small is going to be fine on her. The yarn is Adlibris Nordic, which is a non-superwash 100% wool yarn, which is actually really nice, I have to say. It comes in 100-gram balls. It is the same yarn that I made the storm sweater for little sister, but hers was in the undyed version. This is like a dirty pink kind of color. And knitting the storm sweater is a pleasant experience, even though I'm doing it for the third time, because you don't really get bored, because these panels are quite short. I don't think I need to talk at length about this, because I mean, you have seen this before. Not this particular one, but I'm sure you have all heard about the storm sweater before. If not here, somewhere else. I also forgot to tell you about what I'm wearing. I did talk about this in the last monthly roundup, and this, I'm going to remove my hair so you can see it. This is the Lima sweater. I'm not going to stand up because then I'm going to hit my head, but I can insert a picture. The only thing I don't love about this is the round yoke situation, because you see, round yokes are not really great on me. I don't know if you have a big bust, then it's a problem. I don't know what the problem is actually, but I find that both raglan and drop shoulder constructions work better on me, because I get this bunching effect. And you can probably do something about that, but I haven't really. I did knit the Candelariella pullover, but that is knit in a much thinner yarn. It's a fingering weight, and this is more of a worsted, I would say. So I don't get. I mean, the fabric is a lot thinner, which means the bunching is less in your face, I guess. Apart from that, it fits really well. The sleeves are really nice. I love that she has a pattern on the sleeve as well. And I have been seeing this everywhere lately. I don't know why everyone decided to knit Lima all at the same time. I mean, I did too, so I must have been influenced. This is like the skirt. This is also knit in drops Lima. I really like this brown color. And then the yoke and sleeve pattern is knit in Klippans 2-trådiga, which is a 2-ply 100% untreated wool yarn. And it's not untreated because it's been dyed, obviously. And I held that double, which makes it a little bit thicker than the Lima, and which doesn't really bother me. I don't think you can. Now I'm putting my boobs in your face. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how this came out. I decided to keep this a turtleneck instead of folding it over and sewing it down, because I took pictures last time I talked about this and asked people out there what they thought. And they agreed with me and thought I should keep it like this. So I did. Yes, back to what I have been working on. I actually cast something on yesterday. And since I started a hood, I also wanted to have some mitts to go with that. I don't think that I will have much left of this blown yarn. But I had leftovers from knitting a pair of socks. This is Järbo Raggi, which is an Aran weight sock yarn. And these are pretty much the same color. So I decided to cast, and I'm doing like a, I mean, this is kind of a mock cable. And then I have, this is not a pattern, I just made this up. So you make this on 2 stitches, then it's 1 purl stitch. I started doing 2 purl stitches in between, but that didn't look good, so I started over. And then it's just the stockinette 2 stitches here. 2 knit stitches is what I was aiming to say. I cast on 30 stitches. This is a little bit tight on me, so I'm thinking to rip it out and do 3 knit stitches instead of 2 in all of these panels. If I wanted to do a full repeat of this sequence, I would have to add 6 stitches. I don't know if it makes a big difference. I'm gonna try both of it. I actually tried, because these are 4.5s or US 7, right? So I actually tried knitting them on 5mm instead, which then would be 8, I guess. I will double check and correct myself if I'm wrong. But when I knit it on this thicker needle, it came out a bit holy, which I didn't like. So I have decided to add stitches instead. So we will see what will happen with this. But I mean, what am I going to do with this? Like, I don't know, is it 75% of a ball? So I think that's gonna, in the end, it's gonna be something that I can wear. Right, I have also been working on the August cardigan, which is good because that was already a work in progress last month. And this is a V-necked cardigan with all over cabling. A lot easier cabling than the sweater number 20, because it's just the same all the way around. And there are panels of knit stitches in between the cables. And of course also a purl stitch on either side. To be honest, even though this looks a lot simpler, the pattern is much harder to follow. And I have been a little bit annoyed with this pattern because they tell you how to make the increases, because this is knit top down in like 2 or 4 rows. And then there is a chart for when to turn the cables. But in the chart, you cannot see how you make the increase, or how or where you, I mean, you can see that there are more stitches after a certain point, but it doesn't include the increases in the chart, which, I mean, I have been knitting for many years. I shouldn't be complaining, but it's still kind of annoying that I have to do the work on my own. So I just put the pattern to the side and knit this from what I had understood that I was supposed to do before. So I think I have turned the cables at a faster rate than she does in the pattern, but that doesn't matter. I think it looks good. This is knit in Sandnes per Gynt, and I don't think I have a lot left on the body. It has this 1/1 rib button band, and it's going to be finished by a 1/1 ribbed hem. And I am contemplating what to do when I get there, because this is knit on 4.5mm needles. And since this button band is knit at the same time as the body, it is also knit on 4.5mm needles. Then when you get to the hem, she tells you to change to 3.5mm needles, which means that the ribbing here is going to be a lot looser than the ribbing on the hem. So I don't know whether to just continue knitting with the 4.5 or change to the 3.5 and see what it looks like. The jury's still out. I also forgot to make buttonholes when I was supposed to, because I wasn't looking at the pattern. So my first buttonhole is quite far down the cardigan. Let's see, here. But I think it doesn't really matter, because I'm not going to wear this next to, I mean, I'm going to wear something underneath this, like a t-shirt or a tank top or something like that, a shirt. So it really doesn't matter. And if it does bother me, I could just put a snap up here so that I can close it higher. But yeah, this is coming along nicely. And that is actually all of the things that I have been knitting on this month, or actually it's March now, so last month. And I have to say I am pretty pleased, because even if I haven't been doing what I was supposed to do, I have still been quite disciplined on these 3, 4, 5 projects. No, it's 4 projects that I have been working consistently on. I actually cast on the mitts yesterday, and that was March the 1st, so that doesn't count. No, I have been very faithfully working on 4 projects. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. The plans for March. What are they? So, I have decided, like I told you, that I will pick one garment or accessory to work on that needs to be fixed. And the one that I have picked for March is the retro button dress, because it has been lying around since last summer. When I washed it, it shrunk and it just cut into my armpits in a very unpleasant way. I actually did remove all the edgings around the armholes and the neck opening. I opened the straps and I lengthened them and I sewed them back together. And the only thing I have left is to pick up and knit the edgings on the neck opening and the armholes. So that is not a lot of work, and that's what I want to be doing in February, among other things. The UFOs I have decided to give some love to in March is the ballerina, what is it called? The ballerina wrap cardigan? Something like, it will be somewhere here anyway. So I started this a while ago. I haven't touched it in a really long time. And this is a wrap cardigan. I think it's actually called the ballerina wrap top, which you have already seen on the screen, but still, I'm catching up. So I have come this far, and now I'm making the wrap parts, which means that the rows are really, really long, and this is just plain stockinette, so we're getting bored over here. I think it looks really nice. I like the yarns. This is Järbo Bambu Raggi, which is a sock yarn with some bamboo content. And I'm holding this with a variegated kidsilk mohair that I think it's Dale garn kidsilk, something like that. It will be in the description box. All of the yarns will be listed there. And this wrap top has a raglan construction, as you can see here. This is very straightforward. This is a free pattern. And I am thinking to modify it so that when I get to the part where these completely overlap, I will start to make some ribbing. But I am going to see what it looks like when I get to that point, because this is all stockinette in the original pattern. But we will see what happens. But I would love to finish this because I think this is a good spring piece. And I am also planning an episode where I talk about wrap cardigans, because it is something that I think look good on me, and it is also something that I don't have in my closet. So I think there is at least one more in my future. Okay, next is more of a summer garment, because this is knit in a plant fiber yarn, and this is the Kylie pullover, and I have actually touched this, not in February, but I think it was in January. I was knitting a bit on this. I have all the balls of yarn here as well. So yeah, this is the Kylie pullover by Irene Lynn. And this is such a lovely design. It is a cable pattern, and there's a simple lace pattern in between the cables. This is very simple. You learn to memorize this when you're working on it, because it's all the same all over the sweater. It has a drop shoulder construction. I actually finished the first sleeve, and there are options for this. I chose to do the 1-1 rib neckline hem, which is here, and cuff. But you can also do like a garter stitch border on all of these edgings. So I only have one sleeve left. I finished the first sleeve in January. I want this to be done by summer. I actually want it to be done by the end of this month, but we will see. This is a really enjoyable knit. It's fun. It's memorizable. I was going to say memorable, but that's not what I meant. It's memorizable. The only thing with this is that when you have done this much of the same thing for such a long time, you get a bit tired of it, and that's why it has been resting. And I mean, it has also been resting because autumn came along and I wanted to make wool things, of course. But now I can feel spring in the air, and I have for the last week, I think. So now I feel more inclined to pick this back up. Another thing that has been lounging around is my Snefald shawl by Fiber Tales, and I only just started this. It is actually knit in the round, and then you're supposed to cut it. These are the stick stitches, if you can see, and I found that really fascinating. I have never done this with a shawl before. The reason I stopped is that on this next round I have to introduce a third color. So you did with 3 colors in this stranded color work portion, and I wasn't excited to do that. And then a nice viewer told me that you could actually knit the whole thing with just 2 colors and just slip the stitches that are supposed to be in the 3rd color, and then you knit that afterwards. So I'm going to try that and see how I think about it, and I will let you know. This is knit in Järbo Svensk ull, which means Swedish wool. It is a 3-ply wool yarn, very rustic, very nice. This is the kind of yarn that feels really scratchy when you touch it, or really, no, not, I mean, it's not like the Icelandic let lopi. It's not that scratchy, but you can still feel a bit of a, yeah. But when you wash it, it just softens up a lot. See, here you can see the bunching situation over here. Well, that was a footnote. But yeah, so I'm knitting this in, I think it's 4 colors. This charcoal, the teal, which is, I mean, these are dyed on a gray base, which gives so much life to the yarn. It's really lovely. And then there is a light gray, and there is a medium gray. So I will hold up the darker gray so that you can see that the difference is quite pronounced. I mean, these two don't look as different on camera as they do in person. So this is a little bit darker than what you may think. But that is something that I want to pick back up. That was the UFOs, because those haven't been touched in months. The whips, now I'm lying to you. The Kylie was not a UFO. The Kylie was, or actually, if I haven't touched it since January, technically it is a UFO, but I put it on the whip section. Never mind, that really doesn't matter. I want to knit on it. I want to finish it. And well, the second whip, if it's a whip or if it's not a whip, is very much a whip. That is the August cardigan that I just showed you. And I also want to knit some more on this during March. Oh, and I will also make a spring plans episode soon. Oh, I have so many things to do. I don't have time to go to work. Okay, so, and the new things I want to cast on, I will try to limit to just one thing, and that is Byxan, which means the pant or the trouser or whatever you like to call it, from Wool and Beyond's book, Stitch by Stitch, which is currently only available in Swedish, so I'm sorry about that, but I really want to knit a pair of trousers. And unfortunately I don't have the book here, so I will show you a picture of what it looks like. And I do have the yarn for it. It is the same yarn as this, but in gray instead, like a dark gray. Let me see if I can find you and then I'll show you. Yes, so this is the yarn that I am going to be using for the trousers. These trousers are knit top down. They have a bit of a boot cut situation. They have a slip stitch pattern going down the leg, and I have been contemplating whether to keep it or just knit them in plain stockinette, and I haven't decided yet. We will see when I get started. And that is all the things that I have planned to make in March. The things I want to finish is the Kylie pullover, the August cardigan, which I think is very doable, both of those. And I also want to fix the retro button dress, and there's just very little left on that. So I'm sure that that will happen. Thank you so much for watching. I think I am going to go outside because the sun is showing its face through the clouds. And hopefully you will be with me when I embark on the spring adventures that we have ahead. Have a very nice day, and I will see you later. Bye bye.